That right there is 4 points in freestyle wrestling and 0 points in folk style wrestling. Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys the ins and outs of freestyle wrestling, the most important turns, how to defend those turns, and the rules of freestyle wrestling. First, we're going to talk about the neutral position. What is considered a takedown? Similar to folk style wrestling, if I, shoot a double leg, knock him over to his hip, I'm going to get the takedown there. But one of the positions that's not considered a takedown in freestyle wrestling is if you take your partner down to a quad pod position. So, for example, if I shoot a single leg and I go to pick it up and my partner puts his hands on the mat, if I grab this other leg, I'm going to get the takedown in folk style wrestling. In freestyle, when we're in this position, it is not a takedown until I get his knee, his elbow, his stomach to the mat. So once I'm here, I'm going to use certain techniques to break him down from this quad pod position. I might Western hook an ankle, pull it out, get that knee to hit. Some people, they like to drop to a leg lace here and drop him down to his knees. You can also look to throw him from this position. So I didn't get the takedown yet. I'm on top. I got to get an elbow or knee to touch. I can also lock in the crotch. If I throw him from this position, I'll get 4 points instead of just 2 for the takedown. So that's the main kind of difference you'll see with takedowns is you got to be able to break them down from that quad pod position. So if I'm shooting a double on Will here and I start turning the corner and he enters in that quad pod position, I'm not going to get the takedown here unless I get him down to his knee. Again, I could use my knees, kind of buckle his knee down, get the takedown there. Could try to throw him from this quad pod position, leg lace, whatever is going to get him down to the mat. Now let's talk about back exposure from the neutral position. If I bring my partner to his back, whether I got the takedown or not, I'm going to get either 2 or 4 points. So I'll give you a couple examples. Say my opponent shoots a single leg on me, right? And I'm sprawling here. In folk style, if I go to roll Will across his back, right? And we roll all the way through. In folk style, that's 0 points. In freestyle, that's 2 points. Right now, I'm going to show you one of the techniques I actually like to do to get back exposure when my opponent hits a single leg on me. So if my opponent hits a single leg, I'm going to stuff the head. I'm going to get a tight waist with the whizzer hand. So super, super tight. I'm going to take my knee and block his opposite arm. So my knee is going to come here. I'm going to pinch and block that arm. The reason why I'm doing that is to stop Will from posting his hand. So go ahead and post your hand. That way, if he posts his hand, I can't knock him over to his hip and get back exposure. So I'm here, tight waist, knee blocks. I'm going to post my hand, and I'm going to elevate my left knee to his shoulder to knock him over and get the back exposure. I like this technique because I'm not falling over to my own back. So I can win the scramble and get back on top if need be. Show you a couple angles of this. Again, this will be 2 points in freestyle wrestling. He's got a single leg, tight waist with the whizzer hand, stuff the head, pinch off here, and actually let's rotate a little bit more. Watch what this leg is going to do. My left knee is going to throw up as I post his hand and knock him over to his hip. The finish from here is a couple different ways. Some people, they'll come to a sprawl, do a 180, come to a sprawl, go cross face, split the legs here with their hand. You can also circle backwards. So I'll show you a couple different angles of this. Circle backwards like this and come on top there. Show you one more angle with that last finish that we just did. He shoots a single on me. Man, he's stuck there. This is great when you can't break a lock, right? You're trying to sprawl. You can't break that lock. Okay, give him your knee. Tight waist. Other knee blocks his far elbow. Elevate that up to knock him over to his back. Then I'm going to step my leg back, look for a reverse half, and just walk my feet back to a sprawl position. In freestyle, if I get back exposure like that and then spin around after, I will not get points for back exposure and points for a takedown. I can't knock him over. I'll get 2 there. And then when I go to spin behind, he bellies out, I do not get an additional 2 points for getting the takedown as well. I can keep doing back exposure. So I can continually do this, right? Block, tip, 2 points, he comes back, block, tip. I can continue to do that and keep getting 2 points every time we reset there. So that's the most, I'd say, common back exposure from that position. Another really common back exposure technique is the crotch lock. This is more done from the high crotch position. So we learned how to get back exposure from the single. Now if my opponent hits a high crotch, we're going to do what's called a crotch lock, okay? Similar to sitting in the corner in folk style or any style, I've got to beat this shoulder. So I'll put my hand on the armpit, my other hand stuffing the head, and I'm taking a big step around the side of him as I push his shoulder past my hip. I'll show you a different angle in a second, okay? Then my hands are going to lock in between the legs here, and I'm going to squat down just like this. Then I'm going to lift him up to this position. So we're here. I'm going to squat down. I'm going to lift, and I'm just going to roll back over his shoulder, and I'm going to throw my arms back this way as I kind of arch my hips through. So watch, I have to beat the shoulder. If I don't beat the shoulder, when somebody hits a high crotch on me, I'm probably not going to be able to score. So I'm pushing his shoulder and his head to the side as I step and pass his shoulder. Look here. This has to get past. This can't get stuck in my hip. Then I'm squatting. As you see, I'm on the side of him, not in front. I'm locking in between the legs. I'm squatting in a good position where I can lift him up, right? As I squat, I extend my legs and I arch back and roll him over that position. Now that's 2 points. If he stands to his feet though, so if you throw him from his feet, not his knee, but his feet to his back, you'll get 4 points. So if the situation was this, where he shot a high crotch and I passed the corner and I was here, or even if he was on his knee and I locked and he started standing up to his feet, from here, if I go do the same technique, I will get 4 points. I squat, I lift, roll him over, and even if I get that takedown after the fact, you will only get 4 points for the back exposure. Knowing that, how are we going to defend these positions, right? You shooting on a single leg, how are you going to be more prepared? This is why freestyle is so great. It's going to get you prepared to finish better. So for example, if my head gets trapped underneath and my hands are locked, he's going to be able to pinch my head together and knock me over to my hip here. So when I shoot these singles, especially in freestyle, it should be the same in folk style. I'm ready to post if I need to, and my head is not going to be in between the crotch. It's going to be up and into his chest here. So it teaches you to be better with your finishes. In general, whether it's folk style, freestyle, we want to be here with the single leg. In freestyle, you're going to be punished if you shoot bad, because you're going to get the back exposure is going to happen. So if I want to, as I'm doing freestyle, it's the same thing I would do in folk style, but I have to be more aware, be more focused on this. Because if I shoot a bad single leg, I'm just going to keep getting knocked over to my side and give up back exposure. So when I shoot single legs, again, to kind of be prepared for this, he sprawls. We post here a lot of times to avoid getting knocked to our hip, a little bit wider of a base. And then as I go to finish, I'm bringing my head and chest up so I don't get trapped in between those legs. From here, I might cut double. I might go backside finish, or I might stand up and finish on my feet. All the finishes are the same, okay? When you shoot the single legs, be prepared for your post. Get your head in a position where he can't stuff it and flip you over, okay? Then for the high crotch, you have to be prepared for this crotch lift. So once you shoot, you can't allow this to happen. All right, this shoulder positioning, you're gonna be beat. So keeping this super deep is really important. As he goes to step the corner, I'm gonna pivot really hard. All right, I'm gonna keep pivoting into him so he can't get the corner on me here. A lot of times I'll shelf the leg up here and be able to finish with great posture. If he gets a lock in my crotch, so if I go here and he steps a little bit and locks here, I'll even sprawl out and post my right hand just to avoid getting flipped. All right, I'll be here sprawled out. I may even sprawl both hands to the mat. All right, and then when he bails on the crotch lock, I might come back to my high crotch. All right, so I shoot this high crotch, like here. I cannot get flipped. Look at his hand posting really far forwards. Okay, and if I feel an opportunity, I may elevate circle into him there, okay? But that's kind of how you'll feel that position. And you have to shoot with such better posture in freestyle or you're going to get punished too, right? So when we're shooting these high crotches, if I shoot with my body all bent over, not only can he pass by easily, he can also just come back, lock around my stomach, and then he can throw me essentially over my head from this position too. He doesn't even have to lock in the crotch. So when we shoot our high crotches, even more so in freestyle, we're shooting with really upright posture here. We're not allowing him to cut the corner. We're pivoting hard. We're not bending over at our waist. So that's a big reason why people like freestyle to help your folk style, is it helps with those finishes. You don't have good posture, you're going to get thrown and you're going to get exposed and give up a lot of points. So that's the exposure portion for when the opponent's on their knees, for when their opponent's on their feet. Those are the two most common ones you'll see. Those are the ones you can drill. One more back exposure that is possible, just not seen very often, is a 5-point throw. This is kind of up to the ref's discretion, but in general, if the feet go over top of your opponent's feet go over top in an arching motion, and you throw them from feet to back, the refs can award 5 points. This a lot of times might happen from a head pinch position, so I want to show you that technique, and just to be more aware of that when you shoot underneath, okay? So when my opponent, say, shoots and I sprawl and I get him in this front headlock position, here's how we hit the head pinch, okay? I'm going to punch my left arm as deep as possible, so the hand that's around the armpit, right? We never want to reach and grab the tricep on a front headlock because they'll drag out of that position. So our other hand goes super deep. The thumb is locked around the neck. I can then lock my hands together here. You can do this grip. You can do gable. I like this. I feel like you can pull a little better from there. So here. Then your stomach is going to cover his head. So I'm going to step around and cover his head. My goal is to push my stomach into his neck to push his head through the space here. I'm not throwing him directly over top of his back. I'm almost leaning in and throwing him over the opposite shoulder, okay? So I'm here. I punch this hand deep. I lock. I cover my stomach, my belly button directly on the back of his head. I step my legs in, and I'm going to arch and throw him over top of my right shoulder, okay? So I'm here. It's a little hard of a throw to do, meaning like it's hard on your partner, so a lot of times you'll do it with crash pad. When you're shooting and you're underneath there, you got to get out of that front headlock position. You've got to be ready to post and work your head out of that position so they don't score from there, okay? So I have my opponent in a front headlock, back arm goes around the neck, reaches deep. I'm going to pull, I'm going to step and push my head through, and I'm standing upright. I'm almost lifting him here. It's like a choke almost, okay? My feet step in, and I come back that way. That'll be the last one I do because it's a little tough. All right? And then defending that is just like defending any front headlock. Big thing, when people have me in a front headlock, I'm bringing my elbows to my side. I might be pushing on his leg. I'm attacking these grips. I'm trying to slide out. I have a whole video on shot recovery. So if you look up iron face shot recovery, you'll see all the techniques on getting out of that front headlock position. What I want to talk about next is the out of bounds, okay? In freestyle wrestling, if you push your opponent out of bounds, you're going to receive a point. So understanding the out of bounds is really important in freestyle, and that's another reason why I think freestyle is such a great cross-training tool, because in folk style, you need to know if your back is to the out of bounds. You need to know where you are on the mat so that you can use it to your advantage. If I'm up by points in folk style, I may have my back towards the out of bounds here, so that if Will does shoot, I can walk out of bounds and not get scored. Obviously in freestyle, a little different, but having a more awareness of the out of bounds allows you to win more matches and have more strategy, okay, and win those closer matches. So what are we doing? How are we getting somebody out of bounds? In general, when I'm pushing somebody out of bounds, I need to block him off. So when I bring him to the out of bounds, I'm staying in a good stance, I'm pushing him, he's going to try to circle back in. I can't allow him to circle back in like this because now my back is to the out of bounds. And I did all that work. I pushed him all the way to the edge just for him to circle back in. So as he goes to circle, I'm just going to cut him off. So I'm just going to shuffle side to side with him. So if he go circles, I just shuffle one way, shuffle the other, still hand fight, still push him off. Okay? Show you guys that one more time. So you need to cut them off. So as you're backing them up to the out of bounds, do not let them circle back in. Cut them off. Sideways. We're shuffling sideways, right? If we go show this angle here, if he goes to circle back in this way, I cut him off. I cut him off. And I shoot him out of bounds. Okay? Another great time you can use the out of bounds is if you have a single leg in the air, right? In a folk style match, it's almost the opposite, right? I don't want to be near the out of bounds. I'm going to pull him back to the center so that he can't use the out of bounds to get away. But in freestyle, I'm going to get a point for pushing him out of bounds. So normally, you bring him towards the out of bounds line, close, right before he hops out, you're going to try as hard as you can, not only to score the takedown, but maybe even to go feet to back. Like even in this position, I'm trying to sweep and trying to get back exposure here, right? I might even try to boom. And then at a minimum, I'm going to get the point for a push out. And I also may be able to get rewarded with 4 points for going feet to back. So when you have that single in the air, using that out of bounds, right? Using that out of bounds, get close to it, and then go for a really aggressive score as you get, as you get close enough where he's going to either step out or you're going to score that takedown. Now, if you're on the ground and we're going out of bounds, it does not count as a point. So here's what I mean. Say I shot on Will and he knee sprawled, right? Go ahead and knee sprawl. Boom. We're kind of down here. And say we're still wrestling here. Maybe I'm in here. If he's on his knees and it keeps sliding, and I slide him out like that, and he stays on his knees, I will not get a point for push out. So a lot of times, if somebody shoots on me, and we're near the out of bounds, I'm not going to stand up. I want to stay on the ground so that he doesn't get the push out, right? So that we just go out, the referee starts. If I stand up and he pushes me out, and that's in that case, then he's going to get a push out. So, when I'm on the single and I'm trying to get that push out, I'm going to almost stand him up as I push into him. Don't allow him to go to his knees, right? Get your head up into him. Stand him upright so you can push him out and get that point there. That's another time where people are really going to look for the push out. He's like, for example, I shoot a double, he sprawls. That's why the post is so great in freestyle. You're really big, you're wide, you're covering your base. You're not going to get tipped over to get back exposed. And you're in a position where you can push them, right? We can push them here. We can drive them right out and get that 1 point. That's all I got for the out of bounds position. There's some more details there, but again, this is more of a crash course on freestyle, so you guys get a better understanding. Okay. Now moving to the mat. We're going to first show you the two main turns in freestyle, the leg lace and the gut wrench. Of course, there's more turns than this, but these two turns alone are enough to do as well as you want in the sport. These are by far the most popular turns in freestyle wrestling. So if you can get these down, you'll be good to go. And I learned all these, majority of my freestyle techniques from Olympic champ Brandon Slay, who coaches at the Pennsylvania Regional Training Center right now. So there's obviously variations, but this is the variations I've learned. So leg laces majority happen from single legs. Gut wrenches a lot of times happen from double legs, high crotch to doubles. And they happen a lot off transition, which we'll talk about in a second. But here's how we're going to hit a leg lace. I'm going to shelf the single leg up onto my hip here, just like I was finishing a backside finish. My shoulder is going to be towards the top of his hamstring, and I'm going to be up on my toes driving in. I'm going to take my left hand in this case, wrap it deep around the ankle so that it doesn't slip free. Then my right hand that's on his left leg is going to reach and grab the opposite knee. Again, I'll show you some different angles. Just want to show you this one first, okay? From here, I'm going to drive, and I'm going to circle towards the right. My goal is to get my right knee on the opposite side of his calf. From here, I'm scraping these knees together. I want to get his knees together like this, okay? Once his knees are together, my left hand that's kind of doing a Pledge of Allegiance, it's going to scoop under and wrap around his shin. You don't have to do this, but a lot of wrestlers will grab the calf. You really don't even need that much. but if you get it deep enough, you can grab his calf muscle. From here, I'm going to drive directly into him, and then I'm going to start bringing my feet under. I'm not going to bring it too far under here. There's more of a pressure into him. But my feet are going to come under, and then I'm going to uppercut punch with my right arm as I bridge through. I'm single, his foot is shelved up on the hip. I have my hand wrapped like a Pledge of Allegiance. Now bring your opposite knee up. A common defense, more like this. Common defense is what Will's doing right now, where he's trying to bring his knees to his chest, okay? So here, that's what's going to, I need a lot of pressure, right? My free hand reaches up above the knee. I drive as I start pulling that knee in, stepping it. I'm trying to slide these knees together. From here, the hand that's Pledge of Allegiance scoops around here. Grab the back of the calf. Even here, I might try to get his knees even more together. So I might kind of push his knees in. I want to get these knees to touch almost. Now I start driving forwards as I bring my hips through. Then my right hand that had around the quad is going to uppercut as I bridge through like this. Okay? So I'm here. Shell, put that knee up for me again. Kind of this way. Coming here. I'm driving. Stepping around. Sliding. The hand that's Pledge of Allegiance here. Slides under. Grab the calf. Now see how his knees are really wide here? It's hard to turn. So I'm going to try to get these knees together. I'm going to lean my weight and get these knees together, then slide my hips under. Drive. Punch. And come on top. That's a little crash course on the leg lace. So obviously more details. We can do more courses on freestyle if you guys are interested, okay? Now the gut wrench. For the gut wrench, there's a lot of different options. Again, this is what I was taught by Olympic champ, Brandon Slay. So this is the way he showed it. And that's the way I think everyone should do it, right? The main thing that people get wrong is having a lock on the opposite side. I'm going to show you a regular gut. There's also a high gut where you lock up towards the middle of his chest or upper part of his chest. I'm going to show you guys normal gut wrench, okay? So first off, you can lay flat. This is how we get the gut. We're going to go cross face with my left hand, the same side that my body's on. That hand's going to go cross face. The hand on the opposite side is underneath the armpit. Actually, let's rotate the front. All right, I'm here. And now I'm going to grab his armpit. Doesn't really matter too much if you grab it or not, but my goal is to drive him over top of this hand. So I'm going to use my feet and run him until this hand goes across his chest. From here, I'm going to lock a gable grip. Notice the lock's going to go on the same side my body's on. Then I'm going to come on top. I'm going to shift the lock down right to where the bottom few ribs are. And then I'm going to put my left shoulder right into his back. My coach explained it like a pull is going straight through my shoulder, through his body, into my hands. So your shoulder needs to be directly above the grip. Your shoulder shouldn't be up here if your grip's down here. So I'm here, my shoulder directly above my grip. I get up onto my toes. My head is looking the opposite direction. I get up on my toes and I start driving. Okay, once I drive him towards his shoulder, my left knee is going to throw underneath of his hip. And I'm going to pull him up like this. Okay? From here, I'm going to continue to drive and bridge through and get the turn. We're probably off the camera for that one, but we'll get plenty of reps here. Normally, you kind of don't want to go 100% with this as you're warming up because it hurts. Okay? Hurts the ribs. So, on this side, I'm driving. Actually, I'll go over top. My bad. I'm driving. I even grab my own leg here to make sure that it stays underneath. Then I circle, switch to my gable grip. And I'm splitting the legs here. So one knee's on this side, one knee's on this. My lock is on the same side that I'm going to, right about where the bottom few ribs are. My shoulder goes into his back. I drive up on my toes here, and I start running. I don't hit my knee. I'm driving. Then my left knee comes up, and I throw it under. Bridge through. we got a new change of clothes because the audio cut out. I'm just going to show a couple different more gut wrenches real quick, and then I'm going to go into the gut wrench and the leg lace defense, okay? Again, we're here. We're pushing the body over with our left hand. We're locking a gable grip on the side that we're going to roll to. Shoulder goes in the middle, not the middle of the back, right over top of the grip. My feet drive forwards until he collapses over that shoulder, and then that left knee jumps under. I drive my feet, and I bridge over top. I'm just going to do a few different times all the way through, and you guys kind of see what it looks like more match speed, okay? One other thing that could happen, when you go to hit your gut wrench, your opponent is going to resist, which we'll talk about in a second. But I'm going to show you what you can do if they resist. So if I'm driving and Will puts his hands over this direction and he's resisting here, we can actually switch sides where we jump over the other side, lift him up into our lap, drive, bridge over top. We can go kind of one way and the other. There's a lot of other turns besides the gut wrench and the leg lace, but these two turns are the most popular, and it's really all you'll need on top, even to win at the highest level. It's cool to have some extra tricks. For example, when I went gut wrench, if I was going and my foot ended up in between, what I would do is come back on top, and I would throw a boot in and wrestle from here. You know, there's a lot of folk style turns. I show in my leg riding videos that you could hit in freestyle to get back exposure. Now moving on to defending a gut wrench and a leg lace. When my opponent is going gut wrench, I want to be as flat to the floor as possible to stop him from getting his hands underneath my chest. So he wants to get his hands locked underneath me, obviously. Just preventing that, I want to keep my body flat, my chest, keep a lot of weight down. It can use my hands a little bit to block him, all right, but I got to be careful there. And that's simple as that. You're keeping your chest low to avoid that. Now, if he goes leg lace where he drops back, this is where we come up. If he starts dropping back, I'll bring my butt up and my knees in, but I kind of keep my chest still low because a lot of wrestlers will go to a leg lace to set their opponent up to then go to a gut wrench. Like they'll bait their opponent to base up. So as Will goes back to leg lace, if I come up and bring my chest up too high, he's gonna be able to lock his hands and be able to turn me. So as he goes for leg lace, I'll bring my butt up, bring my knees wide, but I keep my chest kind of low just in case I have to drop back down. So I'll show you another angle of that because it's kind of a common setup for a gut wrench is dropping back that leg lace. His shoulder starts sliding down. I'll come up, bring my knees in wide. If I feel him jumping out of that leg lace and coming back to a gut, I drop back down. Get my chest to the mat. Don't allow him to lock his hands underneath my stomach. The goal here is to put as much weight on the grip as possible. I want to break his grip with my body weight. So I'm not just like picking my chest up like this to avoid getting gut wrenched. I'm putting weight on the lock and I'm crawling, I'm inching my body forwards and rolling my chest over top of his lock like this till that lock breaks. So my chest is rolling over top of this gable grip, and as my chest rolls onto the thumb, his hand will roll off like this, and I can put my chest to the mat and not allow him to lock his hands anymore. In general, whatever side they're on, that knee's gonna be up. So if he has his hands locked, you can kind of tell which way they're gonna gut. Even if he had his lock in the center, you know, here, I have both knees up a little bit. If he goes to the left side, I might start rotating here, throwing my left knee up a little bit more, putting my hands in the direction that he's gonna go, keeping my head up. As he goes harder for the gut, I resist harder, right? As he leans more, I resist the other way more. I don't wanna overdo it, meaning resist way, way more than he's going, because if I over-resist, he can switch sides and gut me the other way. So there's a balance, like only resist a little bit more than you have to. Right? Obviously, a lot of times you're going to have to resist a lot. And then another thing we talked about inching forward. I'm going to not only resist, but inch my chest forwards over top of that lock to break it. So there's little movements. You're crawling forwards like this and trying to break his lock as you resist. So if he goes to gut wrench me that way, Knee comes up, I'm here. If he goes the other way, switch, here. There's a drill you can do by yourself where you just pretend like you're getting gutted this way, and you're crawling yourself forwards. They switch the other side, you switch. You're crawling forwards, that sliding your chest and the stomach on the mat, and pretending you're breaking that lock. This is one thing my coach used to say, don't look outside of your hands. So don't look up way up there, because that's resisting too much. They're gonna gut you the other way. Keep your head inside of the V that you're making with your arms. Kind of keep it here, because that's the position we want to be, right? You know, I might come up a little more. I might try to slide my chest over that lock. I think doing a lot of live goes from here will really help you understand how to move. Okay. Another thing that I'll do if I know someone's gonna jump side to side is I'll use my opposite leg. So if he picks the left side and I'm here resisting, I'll keep my right foot up in the air a little bit. If I feel him transitioning to the other side, my foot can block him a little bit and slow him down, so I'll have time to switch over to here. So I keep my opposite foot up, to kind of block him as he tries to climb across. I'll circle a little bit more so they can see. So if I'm resisting here and he goes to hop to the other side, my foot catches him, and then I can switch. Then again, you're finding your chest over top of that lock to wiggle forwards and break that grip, okay? Such a great skill to learn for folk style. I mean, on bottom, you gotta know how to resist. You might think you know how to resist, but after you resist some gut wrenches, you'll really understand how hard you need to resist these chops, these spiral rides, okay? As far as the leg lace, like we talked about earlier, getting your butt back, like if he had a single on me, maybe he had a single shelf, and he was attacking that far knee, keeping that knee up, might even grab his hand. So when leg lacing, he wants to collect the 2 feet together, grab his hand and get my knee up a little bit more. Don't let your foot turn in either. Like, don't let your feet come together, because they can pull that in and they can find a way to leg lace. So keep your foot out as well. Foot out and knee up. All right? And don't be afraid to move here a little bit. You know, don't be afraid to, you know, don't do anything too crazy, but a little bit of movement instead of being super stationary in one place will frustrate your opponent and make it harder for him to get the turns. So I think being 100% still on bottom, just being super stiff, you're allowing your opponent to do a lot of different things. But being strong, but doing a lot of movement, or a little bit of movement, will make it frustrating for your opponent to turn. These are defending those 2 basic turns. You know, getting your butt low like this when they go to leg lace, and when they go to gut, laying flat to your stomach. A few other things with top and bottom. We'll talk about a little bit more if they get a leg lace. One thing I do if they get it locked up and I am going to get turned is I'll go with it and try to over rotate, meaning roll so fast that I unwind the leg lace. So it's similar to like if you're getting tilted and you feel yourself getting rolled, you try to out-roll the person so they can't catch you in the tilt position. If my opponent gets a leg lace locked up and I know I'll turn like this way a little bit, I'm getting turned, I'm trying to resist, I'm trying to do my best, but I know I'm getting turned. As he goes to roll across his back, I'll roll faster, try to unroll out of it and get my leg apart just like that. So if you can roll faster than he can, you might be able to unravel out of that leg lace position. So resisting, they're going to go unravel faster and get that leg free. You can, it's hard to, but you can get out of the second leg lace, the third leg lace. You got to unravel. It's kind of weird, but you know at some point you're kind of going over. You got to go with that method, okay? Other things, you can pin in freestyle, right? So if my opponent's flat, say I just do a half Nelson or something, or a power half or something. In order to pin in freestyle, you just need his back flat for a second. So you just need to put it flat. Right when it's flat for a second, the ref's going to call the pin. You do get reversals as well. The way reversals work, like say my opponent's going for, you know, a gut wrench and he ends up kind of sliding a little bit. I mean, if I expose my back, he'll get points and then I'll get a point for the reversal. But if I don't expose my back and I hit some sort of switch position here, I can get 1 point for a reversal. So there's a lot more things for top and bottom, but I wanted to get you guys started on the right foot. If you want to see more freestyle videos, Greco-Roman videos, you let me know. I know I'm guessing most of my audience is folk style, but I'm here to help in any way we can. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.